The Duluth Trading Cure Bowl is coming at us on Friday night, and UTSA will take on Troy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slasher U. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Beck, and we're going to break down number 25, UTSA, taking on number 24, Troy, in their bowl game. This should be a very exciting one, Steve. I'm looking forward to it. UTSA looking for their first ever bowl win against a team they've never played before, so it should be a very interesting matchup. We got the winners of Conference USA taking on the winners of the Sun Belt. I'm really excited for this game. I know we wanted to see a Power 5 competitor against UTSA. However, this is what we got, and I think this is going to be a really good matchup.
Oh, it is. It's the only bowl game matching up two conference winners. And I'm basing that on the conference playoffs. I mean, technically, TCU and Michigan will play, and TCU won the regular season Big 12 title. So you could argue that, but this is the only game between conference winners. Now, I promised myself I wasn't going to go off on a tangent.
Go ahead.
About this, and then every bowl I tried to look at, there was some kind of stupid conference tie-in with the fifth place team from some conference. If they played on a Saturday with a full moon, they there was all these tie-ins, and it drove me crazy. I still think there were opportunities for them to put UTSA, who put themselves on the football map this year, with a little bit of help from us. But it was mainly them. It wasn't us. It was mainly them.
Yeah, it wasn't us.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm trying to make myself. I'm in my fading years here, Christian. I'm grasping for straws here, okay? But it does bother me that they're going to a bowl game named after an underwear manufacturer. I mean, Duluth Trading makes, great underwear. I mean, if you're especially in cold weather or whatever.
Their commercials are great. Okay, their commercials are great.
Yeah, I know. But again, that's just another slap in the face at how great this team is.
Or a kick in the shorts. Come on.
In fact, nicely done. Nicely done there. But again, because you're coming up with two conference champions, I think it makes this bowl game special. I wish it wasn't so early in the slate. But maybe whoever wins this game is going to make a statement.
Yeah,
certainly in the standings. Now, because it's so early, maybe it fades as the bowl season goes on.
It could,
but you're not going to see many bowl games like this. You're just flat out not going to see.
Hey, take this maybe as a blessing of disguise. This one means it won't be overshadowed by other games. So maybe more than just the UTSA and Troy faithful will pay attention to it and put other people on the map. Like, holy hell, who's this Frank Harris guy that we've all been looking at for a very long time? And once this game is over with, that means that UTSA and Troy can focus on the recruiting transfer window right now that's wide open, right? So that maybe some other teams are not giving their full 100% towards because they are worried about their bowl game or moving forward or the college football playoffs. So take it as a possible blessing, right? That might be a case here. I know that, look, I would rather see them play an NY6 bowl as well. Don't get me wrong. However, this is what we got. This is the best game, I think, on the slate that other than NY6 bowl that they could have gave us. And I'm happy with it. And I'm really intrigued to see. I think this is a great test as a transitional, if you will, because Conference USA is done now. Although you are the Conference USA champ, you are done competing in the Conference USA. Now you face off against a Sun Belt champion who arguably had the Sun Belt was arguably a very tough conference this year. And you're going to a very tough conference in the American. This is a nice transitional game, if you will, where you go from Conference USA to face a tough competitor in the Sun Belt who won the Sun Belt before you head off to the American. So although they didn't get a Power 5 competitor, I like this aspect. I think there's a lot of things you can take from it. And win or lose, which I don't think there's going to be a losing side to this one for the Roadrunners, but win or lose, there's going to be some good things you can take from it and be happy from moving into the offseason and get excited about all offseason long, which is something you're going to need because that offseason gets pretty lengthy, Steve. But let's dig into this one. I think the biggest thing we got to start off with, as always, as Frank Harris, who has stated that he will be returning back to UTSA, will be in this game, which is fantastic. We're not seeing him transfer out. No Oregon in his future, nothing like that. The only thing in his future is UTSA, and then for certain, soon the NFL on Sundays. However, Frank Harris will be competing in this game. What I'm looking forward to on this offense is basically, can they repeat what they did in the Conference USA Championship game? Can we see that high pace offense right off the bat? Can we see that running game basically just be given to them with the offensive line opening semi-truck size holes? And can we see the wide receivers like Franklin and company really take off like we saw in Conference USA Championship game? And I think we will. I think we will see that. I think Troy is a tougher competition than Western Kentucky, than North Texas. But I do think that we are going to see some good offensive prowess by the Roadrunners, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. And really, they have to jump out early. I mean, that's the one key that I wrote down for this game. UTSA, if they can be up by 2 scores at halftime, ideally at the end of the first quarter, but by halftime, the rest of the time, they can then do what they always do in the second half. We always talk about Michigan having a game plan for the first half to wear down these opponents, and then they come out the second half, they make their adjustments, and that's whether they either come from behind, like they've had to do in some games, like against UTEP, or they just start pulling away. Troy's defense is good. I mean, it's the 8th best scoring defense, in the nation.
Right.
But, and for all of you muscle car fans, you'll get this joke here in just a second. Troy's offense cannot keep up with UTSA. They're more Valiants. They're not Roadrunners. So all of you Plymouth fans understand what I'm talking about. I had a Valiant, and I could push it faster than I could drive it. So that's basically the tie in there. This is Frank Harris's coming out party. I think he kind of surprised a bunch of people last year. Even in the bowl loss, I think people said, well, who is this kid? He's no longer San Antonio's best kept secret. Okay. He is a major player on the national scene. So I think that is the thing for, there. And for Troy on the other side, because they have such a good defense, they're not going to be able to completely shut down UTSA. Their coach John Summerall came out and said in his press conference, we haven't played an offense this good all year. And that's taken into effect, the Sun Belt. There was some really good offensive sides, in the Sun Belt Conference. Yes. And he said, we've not seen this. So they have to pick something. Either they're going to have to shut down the running game, or they're going to have to, they do have a very good pass rush. They're going to have to really go after Frank Harris, force him out of the pocket. Frank Harris theoretically throws better, I think, on the run, out of the pocket on a sprint than he does in the pocket, but force him to maybe hurry and make throws he ordinarily would not do to kind of get San Antonio out of its rhythm. I would imagine Troy's going to have more success doing that as opposed to shutting down the run, because they have given up big plays at times. That's sort of been the Achilles heel for the Trojans. But if they can shut down one aspect of the UTSA offense, then I think they stay in this game and they stay in it right down to the final possession. But I believe, as you do, that UTSA is going to come out. They're going to do everything they can to jump out early and then just use that running game to help them control the ball on out there. So I'd imagine at the Cure, Duluth, underwear, whatever, Fruit of the Cure Bowl, or whatever they're calling this bowl.
Nice.
Thanks. We're going to celebrate a Roadrunner victory in this one.
Yeah, I think so. Now, these are two teams. I think these are very evenly matched teams, which is what makes it exciting. Both these teams haven't lost since week 3. Both in week 1, they both lost to at then ranked opponents. UTSA lost at then 24 ranked Houston, and then Troy lost to Ole Miss. And then in week 3, the loss that UTSA had to Texas. And then I'm sure everyone remembers the crazy loss that Troy had on the Hail Mary on College game day against Appalachian State. Other than that, they've both been on 10. They're on 10-game win streaks, with the exception of that App State Hail Mary That's their only Sun Belt loss. So you could basically say that both these teams are undefeated in their conference if you really want to just put that on in context there. I think these teams match up very well against each other. I think that's why I think UTSA has to score early and get ahead, because Troy has done very good at keeping the our opponents score very low. They're only averaging 17 points against per game, just over 17 points per game. So if they can find a way to get some points pretty quick, and then I think the running game is absolutely crucial going into this one. Kavarian Barnes has to be a huge asset in this one. Troy can stop the run. We have seen that in some of these games this year. I'm not worried about what Frank Harris can do. I think they're going to do fantastic in the air. What we've seen with Barnes all season long, you shouldn't have any worries. But if there's any concern whatsoever, it's if Troy can stop the run. If they can't, I think it's absolutely all over, and UTSA wins this one without any trouble. However, if they stop the run, I think this game's a lot closer than we both hope that it will be. So that's the case here. Troy is a 1.5 point favorite in this one going into the matchup Friday, 3:00 on ESPN. 3:00 Eastern, that is. And honestly, that's really just matches with what I'm saying. This game is a very evenly matched game. Vegas thinks it's the case as well. And I do too. I think this is going to be a tough matchup for UTSA, but I think they have what it takes. I'm looking forward to this matchup, and I really think that the Roadrunners get it done, Steve.
Oh, as do I. Well, again, you're a Sun Belt Conference guy.
Yep, the Sun Belt.
Yeah. Do you think that this Sun Belt Conference is a better football conference than Conference USA?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% actually. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not so sure, but I mean, certainly top to bottom, where we're talking about top to bottom in conferences, I'll give you that. But I mean, I think the elite teams in Conference USA are better than the elite teams in the Sun Belt. But that's the fun
with the
part.
exception of UTSA, I disagree. Yeah, I think the Sun Belt has some more top heavy and then better all around. I think if we want to go on a ranking there, I think that Conference USA is probably third in the rankings in my mind in Group of 5. I think the American's the toughest, then the Sun Belt, and then Conference USA. No knock on UTSA, because they're going to be competing just fine in that American.
Oh yeah, just one thing. I think that where Troy is going to be successful is I think their defensive looks are going to take away that quarterback draw that Traylor and Harris call so effectively. I do think that's one aspect of Frank Harris's game and one aspect of the running game that I think Troy is going to be contained. It's just the way Troy gives you a lot of different looks with their linebackers. They'll occasionally, blitz, their safeties, but it doesn't happen a lot. But I do think just the way that the looks they give them, I think Frank Harris is going to be unable to use that quarterback draw as effectively as he had all season. But for me, it's all Roadrunners. I really think I think it's going to be at least a one touchdown win, if not more. I don't know that it's a 1 point. I'm certainly taking the Roadrunners in the 1.5 line. You're going to give me points in the Roadrunners? Great, fine, give it to me. Lay it on me. But I think that UTSA is going to jump out early, and that's going to be the difference. Even if Troy grinds it down and outscores them in the second half, I think that UTSA is going to have at least a one touchdown buffer to carry them to victory.
I'm with you. Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below. Give us a score prediction, if you will, as well. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. It really helps us out. As you can tell, both of us are rooting for UTSA, so go Roadrunners. Thanks, as always, for watching /review.